Welcome to the Words to Empower podcast, featuring Bishop Frank Stewart, pastor of the Acts Ministry in Conway and North Little Rock. And now, Pastor Stewart.
Now, he looked at those that were wicked, and it looked like they were prospering. Think about that. He looked at them, they looked prosperous from what he was looking at. Now, when you understand true prosperity, and God gives us true prosperity, and true prosperity is not something you can just look at and see. All right? When a person is prospering by the laws of God, by what God has declared, there will be visible signs. But if you just use the visible signs to make you believe that is how you determine prosperity, then you're wrong. You're wrong. This is a very sensitive subject during our time. There are many people that preach prosperity, and there are many people that preach against prosperity. But the truth is, they're not preaching against prosperity. They're preaching against other people's definition of prosperity. They're not preaching against the biblical definition of prosperity. And I believe that throws so many people off, because we are defining prosperity based on how other people are defining it, and not defining it based on what God has said. Because when we look at what God said about prosperity, it's very clear in Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8, and in Psalms chapter 1. It's very clear what God says about prosperity. He says those that meditate on his word day and night, they will have good success and they will prosper. If you meditate on God's word, if you meditate on truth, he says day and night, you will have good success and you will prosper. Now that's the word of the Lord. That's what God says. So many times we are not talking about what God says about prosperity. We're talking about what the man down the street said about it, or what the preacher said, or what the false prophet said about false prosperity. So we are defining it a different way from the way God defined it. And if we do that, then we cause a group of people to be pushed away from the church, because we have allowed the devil to lead us into an area where he has defined. So now we're talking about what the devil said about it, and then we're losing those who are hungry for pure truth, or the truth of God's word. So the psalmist says he was looking at the wicked, and when he looked at them, it seems as though they were prospering. Now, what he is talking about, and we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that the next few verses, and I want to read that for you so you can see what he is saying. He says they seem to live such painless lives. Their bodies are so healthy and strong. They don't have troubles like other people. They are not plagued with problems like everyone else. They wear pride like a jeweled necklace and clothe themselves with cruelty. These fat cats have everything their hearts could ever wish for. Now, this is the New Living Translation. When we look at this, we hear the psalmist making some statements concerning those that were wicked. Now, the statements that he is making is not true. They're not true. So what are you saying? I am saying in Psalms, the 73rd Psalms, you have to read all of it, like you have to read the whole book of Job to understand that at the end of the book of Job, God corrects so many things that Job had said, and God gives us truth. Here, the psalmist is expressing how he was feeling at the time, but as we read on in Psalms, the 73rd Psalm, keep it in context, he's going to correct all of this. But right now, he's in the moment. He's in the moment. He's in a moment of frustration, in a moment where he's feeling overwhelmed. And in this moment, of frustration, in this moment of deep depression, he makes some statements that are not true. And you say, how do you know they're not true? Well, they're not true because they contradict known truths of the Bible. That's one reason why we know. The other reason why we know they're not true, because we read the rest of the chapter. If you read the rest of it, he is going to correct what he was thinking when he was going through. First of all, he says in verse number 3, I envied the proud when I saw. See, that's not faith. Faith comes by hearing the word of God. What he's using here is sight. He's looking at what he thinks is prosperous. But when you really look at the divorce rate, you really look at what people are doing to their bodies, you look at the lack of true peace, true joy, true happiness, it's not prosperity at all. Prosperity includes all of that. And God wants us to prosper. We get to the very core root of the word prosperity. You find that word, the very core root of it. You hear and you see the definition of peace.
Stay tuned for more of Frank Stewart. And now for some special announcements.
Thanks for partnering with the Acts Ministries. We value your service and your donations. That's why we've made it easy to make contributions to support our ministry. Simply go to your web browser and click the search bar and type in actsministriesonline.org. Then click Donate Online. It's really that easy. For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242.
And now, more of Pastor Frank Stewart.
Peace. It is impossible to prosper biblically without having peace. And I'm not just talking about any kind of peace. I'm talking about the God kind of peace that God gives us. So when he says that they are prospering despite their wickedness, he's talking about what he's seeing. He's seeing what they're wearing, what they're driving, how they're living. He's looking at the physical things. When God speaks of prosperity, he speaks of it in more of a holistic way. When the Bible speaks of prosperity, it covers not just one area, but every area, because it's impossible to prosper the God kind of way and your soul not right with God. That's impossible. So he says here in his frustration that he's looking at these people that are prospering, and he said, my foot almost slipped. He's so caught up with watching them that he almost leave God entirely. He went backwards in God, but he didn't leave totally. But he's looking at it. He said it seemed like they live painless lives. He says their bodies are so healthy and strong. They don't have troubles like other people. Well, we know that's not true. The Bible's clear on that in Job chapter 14. Man that is born of a woman is of few days and full of trouble. The most powerful people in the world have trouble. The President of the United States. These people that are powerful, even people that are monarchs, these people that are queens and kings that have total authority, even dictators, they have trouble. Trouble is that thing that none of us can escape. If you're born into this world, you're going to have trouble. So when he says this is him caught up in the emotions of seeing them, not watching them every day, but seeing what he thought was prosperity. Now, I want to tell you, we're talking about what if you're wrong. That's the theme, and that's the subject we're dealing with this week. What if you're wrong? And I think that all of us have to consider that, because it makes us be sure. It makes us look at God's word. And the only reason why we believe that we're right is because of what God has said, what God has declared. So making sure that we're not wrong. But the psalmist here, he sounds so adamant about something that he leaves no room for correction. he leaves no room that the possibility that he is wrong and what he's seeing is incorrect. Because he says these people, they don't have any problems. Zero. None. No problems whatsoever. Everything is going smoothly. Everything is taken care of. And he says, I'm watching them. And they're prospering. Now, his problem is that he's having some things going on in his life. He is not happy with his life because of his lack of understanding of prosperity. You see many people that are unhappy where they are because they don't understand prosperity. And what they're looking at is to prosper physically. And some people, in an effort to do that, they lose their families, they lose their children, they lose everything they got that is really, really important because they're just looking at the monetary thing. They're looking at the physical stuff, the promotion, and do not understand that if you are promoted on your job but demoted in your marriage and demoted in your relationship with your children, that is not prosperity. That's not how God defines it. That's not how God sees it. And that's why we walk by faith and not by sight. So he paints this picture of them, and he says that they don't have trouble. Verse 6, he says they wear pride like a necklace. He says in verse 7 that they have everything their hearts could ever wish for. That's the psalmist. He's looking. That's what's going on. And he's wrong. In verse 8, he says this: they scoff and speak only evil. In their pride, they seek to crush others. They boast against the very heavens, and their words strut throughout the earth. And so the people are dismayed and confused, drinking in all their words. You see that now? The people are confused, they're dismayed because of what they're saying, how they're moving. And the people are looking at them and they're confused and dismayed because they know that they're not living the way God wants them to live. Yet, this prosperity that they're looking at, what they're calling prosperity, they're looking at it. So he says now you got a group of people that are just in total confusion. And this is where the psalmist is. He's in confusion. He's dismayed. He's confused. Because he's been drinking, as verse number 10, New Living Translation, drinking in all their words. See, faith comes by hearing by the word of God. But if you listen to negative words, you will develop a belief system for that. You will develop faith for that, and we call that fear. When you believing in the wrong thing or you believe in something is going to happen, that's fear. That's fear. But when you drinking in all their words, so what has happened to the psalmist here? He's lost focus. He's lost focus on God. And he's not listening to God anymore. He's drinking in all their words. He's listening to what these people are saying. He's listening to them. And you become what you hear. If you hear something over and over and over again, you become what you hear. That's why the Bible tells us not to be transformed, not to be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed in Romans chapter 12. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And the only way that's going to happen is by what you pour in. Somebody said garbage in, garbage out. So he is listening to what the wicked is saying, drinking in all their words. And he uses this metaphor like it's a drink. We know words are like food. Man should not live by bread alone, but by every word. So all he has been eating and drinking and listening to are the words of the wicked. Now, the reason why he's doing this is because he thinks they are prospering. He thinks they're prospering. He thinks this is prosperity. So here he is. He's drinking all their words. And then a statement is made in verse 11. What does God know? They ask. Does the Most High even know what's happening? Look at these wicked people enjoying a life of ease while their riches multiply. So now he's looking at this and he says, does God know? They ask. Does the Most High even know what is happening? So now we got a dilemma. Because now we're coming to the very essence, the very character of God. And even though it's rhetorical, it's a question that is asked, does God know? Does God see what's going on? Does God see what is happening? God is not reacting the way we would react. That's why they're dismayed, and that's why they're confused. But the Bible tells us in the 50th Psalms, God says that I'm not like you.
For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242.
The Acts Church in North Little Rock is located at 1224 Franklin Street. Morning Glory begins at 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Sunday school begins at 8:30 a.m. And for a powerful word, join us at 9:30 a.m. for our morning worship service. Bible study is each Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. At our Conway location, Morning Glory begins at 10 a.m. Sunday school begins at 10:30 a.m. Worship service begins at 11:30 a.m. On Thursday, our Bible class begins at 6:30 p.m. For more information, go to actsministriesonline.org or give us a call at 501-329-2055.
Thank you for tuning in to the Acts Ministry Podcast. The Acts Church is located at 1423 Indian Street in Conway and 1224 Franklin Street in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Tune in each day to hear an inspiring word from Pastor Frank Stewart.